Thank you everyone for joining us today for the Sips and Bites holiday cocktail and cooking demonstration with Chef Jernard Wells, host of CLEO TV's New Soul Kitchen. My name is Crystal Willis. I'm a senior publicist for JL Media PR, and on behalf of CLEO TV, I'll serve as your moderator for today's virtual event. Without further delay, I would like to introduce to you award-winning celebrity chef, entrepreneur, and cookbook author, Chef Jernard Wells. As host of CLEO TV's one-of-a-kind cooking show, New Soul Kitchen, Chef Jernard has been teasing our taste buds all season on Saturdays at 9 p.m. Joining him every week are one of 4 culinary influencers who specialize in soulful and savory recipes from around the globe, including Ghanaian chef Essie Bartels, vegan chef Aki, queen of comfort foods chef Risha, and Afro-Cuban chef Bren Herrera. Get ready for even more fun this season as Chef Jernard kicks off the new year, New Soul Kitchen, New Soul Kitchen remix, premiering on January 9th. He's been featured on Today's Show, People, Steve Harvey Morning Show, Ricky Smiley Show, and so much more. Here to kick things off and tell us what he'll be whipping up is Chef Jernard Wells.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Chef.
Okay, great. Happy holidays. Thank you everyone for joining in. Crystal, thank you. It's always great hearing about yourself. So I think you did a great job of reading that bio out. But yeah, this is the time of year where we're always looking for those festive dishes, and I know it's a unique time because of course we are in a pandemic and a lot of people are still staying in place, and sheltering in place, and not really going as much as they used to. So I've created several quick fix dishes that you can whip up for yourself or for that special someone in your life. Or if you're having a small gathering, you can create something like this and it'll meet the need for everyone. And not that time consuming or inexpensive. And one of the things we're going to start off with is a Thai chili and gochujang meatball, actually a turkey meatball. And we'll get into that because if I have some vegans or vegetarians on here that don't do turkey, we can talk about some cool, innovative ways on how to hook those meatballs up meatless, more so to say. And then we're going to do a vanilla and caramel bread pudding. That's out of sight, and it's something that you can even make. We're going to make those in some cool little loaf pans here, and this is something you could do versus doing it on a big scale. But then, hey, if you're looking to take those worries away, I got some amazing cocktails that's designed just for the holiday. We're going to do an apple cider Moscow mule, and we're also going to do a cranberry maple tequila drink that's similar to the cranberry sunrise, except this one right here, you'll be the MVP. So we got some cool things laid out for you. So I hope you guys are ready to rock and roll.
Amazing.
And
Thank you so much, Chef. That bread pudding sounds amazing.
Yeah, hey, look, it is, and this is the thing. So you know what? While we're going, I know some of you guys have already sent over questions and things like that, but I'm gonna kick this thing off. Let's start cooking off top. And then from there, if you have questions, feel free, Crystal, just chime in, let me know what the people thinking. But just to start off, first thing, what we got here, if you guys can see this, we got a pound of ground turkey. We have a fourth cup of breadcrumbs, some green onions, because I believe in giving your meatballs some nice clarity. And we got 2 of my favorite seasonings right here. This is Chef Jernard's line, a Southern barbecue rub and an all-purpose seasoning that are low in sodium. Then we have a fourth of a cup of sweet Thai chili sauce and gochujang. And if you guys hadn't heard of gochujang, it's one of those tongue twisters, but it's a Korean chili sauce. One of the things over the course of the years, I did a lot of studying overseas and in different countries. And one of the cuisines that I studied is Asian cuisine, Filipino cuisine, Costa Rican cuisine, German, Great Britain. But I really just love the Asian inspired cuisine to the point I even launched the Asian restaurant here in Atlanta. So I believe in giving them that flair. But what we're going to start off doing first is we're going to lightly slice our green onions. And green onions, you know, they really just open up flavor. You can smell them in the air, especially when you're using them this way, and then heat hits them inside of whatever you're cooking. It really brings out the flavor naturally, as well as, you know, onions are heart healthy. And that's one of the things for New Soul Kitchen. I always like to share little bits and tips to just really help you along the way while you're cooking. You know, typically what people think of is, hey, you know, there's one way, one right or one wrong. There's no right or wrong way of cooking great food. The key is cooking the way you love it, because it's about bringing people into your world. And so what I do is, as I call it, Southern modified style of cooking, is modifying yesterday's recipes for today's healthier lifestyle. Like when I was growing up, my mother, especially around the holidays, because we would have people coming over, she would always make these she would do them Swedish style meatballs. But what she would use is she would use a combination of ground pork and ground beef. But of course, as I got older and I started wanting to change what I ate and how I ate, ground turkey worked amazing. And also it really brought out those flavors, brings out the flavor in it, because you got the ground turkey and it's a lot leaner as well. So what we're gonna do, if you see I added my green onions to it, we're gonna add roughly about a tablespoon of the all-purpose seasoning. And then we're gonna add the Southern barbecue, a tablespoon of that. And the reason why I add the Southern barbecue is because I really, you know, I'm a Southern boy still, so I really love those essence of the smoky flavors coming together. Now for your binder, we got breadcrumbs here. And breadcrumbs are always good, you know, and you can use an egg as well, but I prefer to always use breadcrumbs as my binder. And now let's talk about vegan style meatballs. If you want to do this in a vegan way, what you would do is you would use the same combination of ingredients, except instead of ground turkey, you would take mushrooms, you would dice them up, and then you would blend the mushrooms with chickpeas. And it gives you that same flavor as if you were eating a traditional meatball. Because mushrooms, the thing is with mushrooms, when you add seasoning and different spices to it, mushrooms are almost like sponges where they take hold of whatever it is that you're cooking. Now, what we're going to do is I like rolling these into some nice, cool, as you can see here, 1-inch meatballs. And the reason why we're going to roll them into 1-inch meatballs is because several things you can do with these. You can eat them straight like this, or I'm going to show you how you can just make them into some cool sliders. So depending on what you want, but what you want to do is you want to go ahead and preheat your oven to 325. So it's nice and hot in the bottom of your pan, because you have to remember, whenever you're cooking with like ground turkey, ground chicken, or anything like that, that it's lean. Lean meaning that it's less fat in it. So you want to always add a little olive oil or avocado oil to the bottom of your pan, so that you don't have to worry about the meatballs sticking as much. And you just have fun doing this. And I don't know about y'all. Yeah, y'all will get the recipe. I see that popping up there, Chris. Y'all gonna get this recipe. And then when you get this recipe, you make sure you cook it this holiday and you post a picture of it and you tag me into that, Chef Jernard, because I want to see what you can do.
And make sure you tag New Soul Kitchen and my CLEO TV. Chef Fern, you were on the subject of spices. Janet of Janet Fit Beauty asked, what are 5 must-have ingredients or spices to just keep in your kitchen, staples that you should always have?
But some of the true staples that I truly love keeping in my kitchen, smoked paprika. I really love smoked paprika. I think it really enhances a lot of the foods, and it's mild in spice, but you know, it packs a lot of flavor. So I really love using smoked paprika. Also, outside of smoked paprika, I think that sea salt is very good, but Himalayan sea salt is another good staple to keep in. Also, adobo spice. Adobo spice, that if you're into like chipotles and flavors like that, you can just buy the adobo spice. Now, what I'm going to do is While I'm telling you about those spices, I'm gonna go ahead and pop these meatballs in the oven. But yeah, so adobo spice, Himalayan sea salt, smoked paprika. I also love having dry rosemary. And what I do is I take the rosemary and I mince the rosemary up very fine to really just bring those flavors to life. So I think those are great combinations to have. And then also, guys, granulated garlic. You know, a lot of people like, well, I don't think about garlic, but garlic, of course, is heart healthy as well. But garlic, I really like taking granulated garlic, the dried garlic, and blend it with the fresh garlic, and it just brings your dishes to life. But then if you're looking for a nice, cool sweetener to have in, I always think that muscovado is good. And you guys may be like, what's muscovado? Muscovado is no more. No, you know what? Before I tell the answer, without anybody Googling, at some point or another, I want to see who can guess what muscovado is. And then we're gonna make sure you send over your address to Chris, and I'm gonna make sure I send you guys a cool gift. So I want to know what is muscovado. Can somebody type in at some point or another what muscovado is? So
yes,
that's a
put
good
it
one.
in the chat there. If you know the answer, let's see who guesses it first.
Yes,
Chef.
yes. So we get so we got the meatballs going, and then we're gonna start on this sauce in a minute. But I figured, Crystal, hey, look, it seemed like I had a little bead of sweat on my nose, so that means that I am hot and I need a drink.
I
So
heard that.
so first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with that apple cider meal, which I think is so cool. You know, this time of year you can pretty much find apple cider in any of your grocery stores. So always get me a nice tin here. Put me roughly about 2 scoops of ice in there. Then you're gonna take a half a cup of the apple cider that we're gonna pour in, and then here got 1.5 ounces of the whiskey here. This one right here is you can find any of your cinnamon whiskeys that are very good. You know, it's several brands out there, cinnamon whiskeys. But cinnamon whiskey works amazing. If you don't have a cinnamon whiskey, it's completely fine. If you don't have a cinnamon whiskey, it's completely fine. You can use just a traditional whiskey. And if you're going to use a traditional whiskey, one of my favorites is always the Uncle Nearest brand. I think is amazingly good. So now that we've blended our apple cider, our cinnamon whiskey, and ice, you want to just give it a nice good shake so it can chill off here. Then from there, we're gonna remove this bad boy.
And Valerie from the Hollywood Times said, make it a double for me, chef.
Exactly. Instead of 1.5 ounces, we're gonna go 3 ounces. Now, this is also the key now. Now that we've blended the apple cider and our cinnamon whiskey, what you want to get you is some ginger beer. And what I like doing is really kicking the flavor up. I get the ginger beer that has pineapple in it, and you want to lightly pour that right over the top. That's gonna add that nice, good, that sparkling flavor to it. The ginger and the pineapple brings it to life. And then we take cinnamon sugar, and you just lightly dust the top of it with cinnamon sugar, and boom, this is your apple cider right here. Cheers to you. Let me see what this thing is hitting for. Perfect. The right kick. That apple cider is really making it real festive, bring you into these holiday spirits and moments. And then that cinnamon sugar over the top of it gives it that nice note. Look, you could be hanging around the fireplace, space heater, whatever it is you got, and sipping on one of these, and you'll be all right.
All right. Chef Tawanda from Interrupted Blogs asked, what are some holiday mocktails you can put together at home?
Okay, holiday mocktails I think are always good because you know when you're cooking or creating drinks, you always have such a diverse diverse set of people at the table. And as you see, and I'm gonna go into that mocktail, but that's one of the premises of New Soul Kitchen is, as you see, I bring these 4 amazing young ladies into the kitchen with me, and they're all cooking from different backgrounds, different experiences. And that's what the dinner table looks like now in the common kitchen. Or even when it comes, like you got vegetarian, you got vegan, you got alcoholic, non-alcoholics. But one of the things is a great, amazing mocktail is lemonade. You want to take lemonade. You want to also take fresh lime, and you want to take a sparkling seltzer. Normally I use a lime sparkling seltzer, and I mix all those ingredients together, finish it off with some mint, and it tastes just like a virgin screwdriver. So if you guys remember the screwdriver was always with vodka, lemonade, mint, lime. That's a virgin screwdriver, but then it has this sparkling, has the same look, the image, very good and festive. Another great drink that I think is a good mocktail is the virgin sangria. The virgin sangria is amazing. With the virgin sangria, what you want to have is you want to have pears, apples, and oranges. But outside of having real pears in there, what you want to do is get you a can of pears with the pear syrup in there. And then you take cranberry juice and pineapple juice, blend those together, put the fruit in. And once you put the fruit in on it, you want to finish it off with a sparkling non-wine. You know, normally around New Year's, how you can get the sparkling, what is it, the apple cider, the sparkling cranberry ciders. You get one of those sparklings, whichever one that you prefer, because I've tried it with all of them, and they're all amazing. And you finish it off with the sparkling cider, a great sangria. And you can sip on that all night, and you won't even feel nothing but goodness. So, all right, now that we have that first drink that I'm gonna be sipping on along the way, but of course I'm gonna make sure I pace myself, because we're gonna be whipping up another one real soon. We're gonna start on that bread pudding. Now the key with bread pudding is you want to use brioche bread. You can use French baguettes. But I think the brioche is very good. It's flaky, it's buttery, and it also has a nice amount of sweetness to it. Now, one of the things I like doing when making my bread puddings, and maybe this was just traditional from always spending time in the kitchen with my great grandmother, because that's who really made the bread pudding when I was growing up the most. She never, like how you see some bread puddings where the bread is completely just mushed together and it almost forms this soggy style. She never did that. What she always did was she would just dice her brioche bread. She would dice it and slice it where it was still cubes. So you still got a substance. And you'll see as we progress and closing out on that bread pudding how it turns out. So what we do is we just dice the bread pudding. Then after we dice the bread pudding, what we're gonna add is heavy cream to it. So you want to add your heavy cream, and that heavy cream soaks up, because you got to remember this bread is going to soak up
Chef,
all of
let
those.
me ask you a question. If
Yes.
you or Chef Aki from New Soul Kitchen were making a vegan version of this, what ingredients could you use and it still tastes good?
Still tastes good. So if we was making a vegan version of this, and now granted what I'm putting in right here, I'm adding in cinnamon and nutmeg, because you want to have those. But if we were making a vegan version of this right here, normally what you would use is you can find a lot of different vegan breads, of course, and instead of the heavy cream, you would use coconut milk. That coconut milk really gives it an amazing feel. It adds its own touch of sweetness and gives it almost a tropical experience. Now right here, I have some walnuts, because I really love adding walnuts and sometimes pecans to it. But yeah, for a vegan bread pudding, you will follow the same recipe, except the only difference is you would use a vegan bread, and you would use coconut milk instead of the heavy cream. And because some breads do have eggs in them, and if you are, as I say, a diehard vegan, you're like, okay, I don't do any eggs or anything. But then we have what we call the closet vegans, where they'll still eat eggs and cheese sometime, and they borderline vegetarian, borderline vegan. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just mince it together like this, but not to do it hard where you want it mush. You still want to make sure that your bread is still holding those forms. Then from there, after you blended those flavors, and then we add the vanilla extract to it, because you want it to really pop when it comes to vanilla flavor. Then also we're gonna add roughly 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. We're gonna keep the remaining brown sugar because I'm gonna show you guys how to make a caramel sauce. And then of course, if you're a vegan, you would make the caramel sauce the same way that I'm showing, except the only difference, because we're using sweetened condensed milk, what you would use is you would use almond milk to make your caramel sauce if you want to make it in a vegan aspect. So I always like taking these little individual pans like this, and we just fill them. And when you have the meatballs going, we're gonna pop this bread pudding in the oven, and we're gonna let this bread pudding just cook up for roughly about 15 minutes. And then we're gonna be ready to rock and roll. If you guys, oh man, look, while I'm popping in the oven, those meatballs are looking amazing. Look, I actually, I wish some of you guys were here to actually experience this with me, because this is smelling and looking too good. I shouldn't even have it all to myself. And it's the holiday season. So what we're gonna do now is, as we're going, Crystal, had anyone chimed in yet on whether or not if they knew the answer?
Yeah, let's see if we got an answer. I think we had a few people say it's sugar.
It is, but what kind of sugar?
What kind of sugar? Okay, can you be more specific? Let's see. Meta Washington from Sirius XM was the first to answer your question there. So
Who answered? Who was the first person to answer it?
Meta from Sirius XM.
Okay. Well, I guess we can let her have it. It's sugar, but
and Chandra Gore said unrefined sugar.
The Hollywood Times, are they asking a question, or are they telling me an answer?
I think they're guessing. Is it brown sugar?
No, Chef, I think it's brown sugar, no?
Yes, it is brown sugar. I've been using it right in front of them the whole time.
Bravo. Thank you.
Yes, it is brown sugar. So what we're going to do now is to make that caramel, what you want to start off with is sweetened condensed milk and brown sugar. And then we're going to add in some vanilla to it. And what we're going to do is I'm going to put this behind me, and we're going to let this cook until it starts to break down the brown sugar as we continue to go. But what you want to do is lower your heat whenever making caramel or caramel, depending on where you're from and how you pronounce it. Whenever you make it, you always want to cook it on a low temp. You want to cook it on a low temp so that it can form and blend together good. Because see, caramel is almost similar to making pecan pralines or pecan pralines, where the key is just allowing it to take its time to blend together. And as you'll see just that fast from the heat here, you'll see how it's already starting to get a nice, good, beautiful brown tint to it. So we're gonna let that just keep going. while that's going, what we're going to do here is we're going to start making the sauce for our meatballs. So what you want to use roughly about 1/4 of a cup of the gochujang here. And then blend our Thai chili sauce in. And this gives the meatballs an amazing oriental feel to them that really just brings this thing to life. And you know, and that's really one of the biggest things with New Soul Kitchen, season 2 New Soul Kitchen remix that we have coming up. That's one of the biggest things that I really want to inspire people to do is not to be afraid to step out and create meals. You know, with us being, I think this part of our life with being closed in so much has really driven people to really step in the kitchen and cook more. But the thing is, you feel that, okay, I'm cooking, you find yourself, I'm cooking the same thing over and over and over every week. So how do I change that? One of the ways we change it, so say if you're eating chicken, you're eating salmon, you find yourself running those dishes 2 to 3 times sometimes in a week's time, and you get burned out on it. So one of the biggest ways to reset your palate is by introducing herbs that you typically wouldn't introduce to those dishes. And by introducing those herbs, it gives you a different experience. Not being afraid to play with fresh basil, cilantro, Italian parsley, flat leaf parsley, the minced ginger in it. Ginger brings dishes to life as well. You know, so all of these things is what really will open up your taste buds to something a little different than what you typically would be eating. But you're eating the same thing. It's just about the ingredients and the flavor that you put with it makes it become different. But guess what? It's the same chicken. It's the same lamb chops. It's the same salmon or trout. But then also, you know, with me, I've been on this since this pandemic. I decided, hey, I didn't want to just sit around. I think I probably sat around maybe about 3 to 4 weeks when the pandemic first hit. And that was, what was that, March, something like that. After that, I said, you know what, I'm going to use this time to really change my life around as far as, you know, the show that I'm creating and bringing to the world, my health, what I eat, and everything that you see me doing on New Soul Kitchen Season 2, New Soul Kitchen Remix, New Year, New Me, New You. Those dishes are what I've been implementing in my life during this time. And since I started several months back, I'm already over 45 pounds down. And then just having an active lifestyle. Man, I go out in the neighborhood and I ride bikes with my daughters, just doing things to be active, jogging. I jog roughly about 3.5 miles a day. Then I spend some time going into the gym. But one of the things I've realized more than anything, and I'm starting on this next drink, guys, one of the things I recognize more than anything while doing this is it made me really feel good, even have more energy. But the key is, you know, I know we always say, okay, work hard, exercise. What's more important than just doing the exercise is what you eat and what you put in your body. You know, if you change the way you eat, the time frames you eat, how you eat in moderation, that does magnificent results to if you want to achieve certain weight loss goals, or you want to build body mass, as far as muscle mass, things like that. And that's what I started leaning on more so than anything to reduce the weight, as well as I started practicing, what do they call it? Intermittent fasting, where I typically I'll eat anywhere between the hours of 9:30 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. And I make sure I cut it off. And those are things that have really been working with me. So, okay, so we're going to start on that, on our cranberry drink. So what you want to do is you want to use 3 ounces of cranberry juice. We have here 1.5 ounces of tequila. that we're gonna blend in. Then we're gonna use a squirt of lime juice. And here we have maple syrup. Maple syrup is what really brings this dish, but you only want to use just a teaspoon of real maple syrup to it. And once we add those in, we're gonna shake it
5
up
o'clock
here.
somewhere, chef.
So all right, so let's talk about that journey. But first, I need to pour me a stiff drink. This right here is one of the most festive drinks to have. Tequila, cranberry, amazing. Then that maple just gives it a nice subtle note. Just really just brings it together, and it gives it that full bodiness. So definitely.
Yes. What would be a drink that they could make that's hot? What would be a good hot drink? Spiked or not?
So we're gonna I'm gonna make sure I still answer that drink, answer that question, but I'm gonna tell you about the hot drink. So what I love doing is, okay, eggnog. We know eggnog, you can get that custard relatively anywhere this time of the year. I like making an eggnog s'more. And what you're gonna need is you're gonna need your favorite eggnog. You're gonna need Bailey's. I really love Bailey's or either Southern Comfort whiskey, are both amazing. You want to blend those together with the eggnog. Then you're going to take you 2 tablespoons of cocoa. You're going to mix the cocoa in. Then once you mix the cocoa in, you can heat it in the microwave, or you can create and do this on the stove. But I always say heat it in a microwave. So once you get it hot and get those flavors blended together with the eggnog, then you're going to, then what we're going to do, then what we're going to do is, once we blend those flavors together in the microwave on the stove, you're going to take you a marshmallow. You're going to take you I like using like a little piece of the Hershey's Kisses and a graham cracker, lay it right on the top of it. And if you have like, normally you have a blowtorch gun, or if you don't have a blowtorch gun, just a typical lighter, the big lighters you use like to light your barbecue grills, things like that. And what you want to do is you want to just lightly burn the top of it the same way you're making s'mores. And that drink is phenomenal. The right amount of heat to it to bring it to life. Yes. Oh my goodness, yeah. This caramel,
so
guys.
yummy.
This caramel. Can you see this?
Let's
This
see
is
it.
this is how you want your caramel to turn out right here. So that caramel is cooking and looking good here. So now let's talk about, you asked the question as I was making this drink. We had that caramel going. We'll be pulling those meatballs in just a moment. My journey was one of those interesting journeys. And I don't know if more so if I chose culinary, if culinary chose me. I started cooking in the kitchen with my father roughly when I was about 10 years old, because my father was a chef. And he had me in there spending time with him. And one thing led to another. My father ended up passing away when I turned 16, wanted to buy a car going my senior year in school. So I opened up a restaurant out of my mother's kitchen at 16 years old, which started on that pathway. But the thing is, I never accepted that as my journey. If anybody ever asked me, I was going to be a lawyer going when I grew up. As a matter of fact, before going to culinary arts school, even though I had a restaurant, knew how to cook, I went to college. I went to HBCU Russ College, and I majored in political science because I just knew I was going to be this lawyer, but all while still owning and operating a restaurant. And as that restaurant made money, it was later on while I was in that restaurant, someone challenged me with the question about whether or not if I was a chef and how great my food was. He ended up winning that because I hadn't went to culinary arts school, that I wasn't a chef. So I withdrew out of college and went to culinary arts school. And that's when my journey really just took off, because I did exceptionally well. I majored in French and Cajun cuisine. Memphis Culinary Academy. And from there, the instructor felt that I had such promise and convinced me to go on a hiatus out of the country. And so I traveled all around the country while my mother and sister ran a restaurant for me. studying and learning all these different cuisines and styles of cooking, because I wanted to be a melting pot and create unique ways to create food and bring the way I see it to the world. And so from there, I came back, and once I came back, I ended up meeting a lady by the name of Paula Dean, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably heard of. She heard about me because I'd won some competitions. I created recipes. If you go to the Resorts Casino in Tunica, Mississippi, I'd won a competition, and part of winning that competition, I had the opportunity to create every menu, every dish that was on their menu. As a matter of fact, I use that as a story to share with people. I used to only weigh 185 pounds, seriously. But when I won that competition at the Resorts Casino, part of everything is food consistency. So as I created these recipes for them, I had to teach all of the sous chefs that were under me, and I had to taste the food every time they created to make sure it tastes exactly like how I intended it to taste. And if it didn't, they would instruct me to have them to throw it out and do it all over again, because they were that big on consistency, and it had to taste like what I wanted. So imagine 75 different dishes, and you going through 10, 12 hours a day, and you taste a spoonful of it. In my mind, I'm thinking I hadn't ate all day, but I probably just put 3,000 calories in my body from just tasting, and then go home and eat a full meal. And here it is. I woke up one day like this. but nonetheless, hey, look, it's been a journey on changing that, and I think I finally broke the code on it, and I see it coming down. But from there, what Paula Dean shared with me, she said, "Hon, don't wait to become successful to build a brand." She said, "You start building it, and you just put the things in place. So if in one day someone discovered you and you on someone's TV, you already have these things in place." And I said, smart idea. So I went back and I took all the knowledge that I knew, and I started writing cookbooks. My first cookbook was 88 Ways to a Heart, Cooking for Lovers from the Kitchen to the Bedroom. Of course, I spent time overseas, so I was learning all this romanticism and stuff, how you infuse food, because, hey, food is first base in anything. I don't care what it is that you're doing in life. Food is first base, especially in relationship. When you meet that special someone in your life, what's the first thing that they say is, "Can I take you out to eat?" Because food is first base. If food don't transpire nothing else. And like I always tell people, they had a wedding, and if the food is bad at the wedding, at the reception, they leave from the wedding talking about it was the worst wedding they ever been to. And it shouldn't even have been about the food. It should have been about them saying, "I do." But that's how food is tied into what we do. So that book ended up hitting the bestsellers list. I later on started writing a host of other books. My latest one that's out is Southern Modified. Hence what the journey and the life journey that I've been on is showing people how to take yesterday's food and modify for today's healthy lifestyle, because we don't eat the way we ate 10 years ago. But then from that journey, I garnered my first opportunity with Food Network. Food Network reached out to me and wanted me to do a show called Chef One with Ann Burrell over 10 years ago. And I said, I didn't know where this was going, but I was thankful for the opportunity. And I said that I was going to take that 15 minutes of fame on TV, and I was going to try to turn it into a lifetime of work. And so I did that, and I always give my all. And I hope you guys enjoyed it on New Soul Kitchen, but I did that. They loved it so much, and they kept bringing me back. They brought me to do Cutthroat Kitchen that was hosted by Elton Brown, one of the only chefs in the world to win that 2 times in a row. And they couldn't figure out how I was able to master the challenge and appear on it so many times. And I told them, "Hey, look, Elton, if you guys have ever seen that show, they have you on there cooking all kind of crazy stuff, a grilled cheese sandwich with a mini skillet or iron." I said, I was from Mississippi. I grew up in the country. All these fine gadgets that chefs were used to cooking with, hey, I grew up not cooking with them just by default. So whenever they throw the task at me, it was easy for me to master it anyway. But then fast forward, did Food Network Star, and then from Food Network Star, became a guest judge on Chop Jr., and then started being a contributor, Best Things I Ever Ate. But over the course of that time, I met an amazing woman by the name of Kathy Hughes. Kathy Hughes, she was so amazing. And over the course of those years, she really took me under her wing and started really mentoring me more so for TV and experience. And just as time presents, because patience is a virtue. You know, I've been in the food entertainment industry for over 10 years outside of being a chef. But what she did was she showed me how to chisel away those rough ends and really be refined with it. And hey, to this day now, so happened CLEO TV was born, and you got New Soul Kitchen. And then look, soon you got New Soul Kitchen Remix coming up, which is just me on there, but I'm showing you how to create some amazing dishes in a fraction of the time. So
That's
look,
right.
while I'm sitting there yipping, that food is ready. I'm going to get ready to pull it out. So
That's
we're going to
right.
get set up here because I could go on all day long.
Chef, since you started New Soul Kitchen and now moving on into New Soul Remix, how have you evolved as a chef? How has this experience working with the other chefs evolved you?
Oh man, this is really tied into something that I've always believed in. And when I say I always believe, I'm talking about diversity in the kitchen as far as the type of cuisine that we cook, that we eat, that we know of. Because see, a lot of people are sleep on, but it happens every day. When you're going into the kitchen to eat, how diverse your kitchen is. If you have family and kids or even the adults, how we all eat so different, but we eating different at the dinner table. And that's what New Soul Kitchen really testifies to, by having such amazing young ladies like our Afro-Cuban chef, then Essie from Africa coming in, and Chef Aki, who's a vegan chef. Those dishes that we come together and bring together unifies the family of cooking and how we all can eat together. Because people, think about it. 2 years ago, who would have imagined seeing a chef cooking in and everything and then having a vegan chef right there beside him cooking? Those are the things that I want the world to see, that we want the world to see with New Soul Kitchen. And also it really tied back into messages that I knew, as far as, hey, look, if I'm gonna bring you a show that's talking about eating healthy, being more health conscious on what we put in our body, I'm gonna be a true testament to that. And I'm gonna be the walking example so you can see that transformation in me.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Chef. We're going to watch you finish off these meatballs. And while you do that, everyone's going to prepare for our Q&A session. If you have a question, just type it into the chat box and use the raise your hand feature. And I'll notify you in the chat if you'll be selected to open your camera and go off mute. All right, Chef, what you got there coming out of the oven?
Yes, I got these meatballs coming out of the oven. Let me let you see what we got going on here and how beautiful these jokers are. Oh my goodness, here. Look at this. Look how this is. Can you get a close up? I'm still working on smell-o-vision. I hadn't quite got there yet. So what you want to do is that sauce that I blended together, you want to take it that we have in the pot here, and we want to just add these amazing meatballs to it. And as you can see how firm they are, just check it out. You can see how I'm able to pick them up with these tongs here, and they're just staying in place. They're staying in place. So that's what you want when it comes to a good meatball. So what we're gonna do is, and I always like mixing them together in a nice pot, because that allows us to really just coat them. To add a little more, I always like adding just a little bit of the Southern barbecue to it to bring those flavors in. Then here, let me grab my spoon. Now I'm gonna take these bad boys out here. But I think I want a little more gochujang on them. And you know, this is one of those things that's truly about cooking in moderation here. And once we line these bad boys up, they're gonna go right in our bowl right here. Check this out, guys. Beautiful. Can you see what we got going on here? This is how you want your meatballs looking right here.
Ooh, look at that. So what are
Yes.
some other sauces they could put together for those meatballs to switch it up?
You say some other sauces?
Yes, some variations for the meatballs.
Yes, one of the other variations is several things you could do. You could do these meatballs with the sauce or without the sauce, where if you want to just do just a straight seasoning to them to coat them, which brings it together. And it also brings me to when we're talking about making sliders here. You know, you could take this one meatball here, boom, on the top of it. And if you left it plain or with sauce, you could do it that way. And here you go right here. You got you a nice, beautiful slider that you can do. And then you can add mustard, mayo, pickles, whatever you want to add to it, even cheese over the top of it. Also, I really love a nice, good mesquite mustard sauces. I think are good. So if you're into any of the Carolina style sauces, you could do that, or you could do a honey mustard where you take you some Dijon mustard, some honey, blend that together and toss them in there. And now you got a nice good honey mustard meatball, which is very good. Also, if you want to do a gravy, you could do a cool gravy meatball as well. And then what you do is you start off by making your own roux. You roux your butter, your flour, you add some salt and black pepper to it, and you'll let that cook down. And then you can add in any of your creams. If you want to add in a cream to it to make it creamy, or better yet, just add some vegetable stock to it and it'll cream up, and you toss your meatballs in there. So these are amazing. Let's get a bite of this thing. This right here, perfect. Perfect. Look at that. Still juicy. Still juicy. If you can see the juice coming out of it. This right here. This is designed to melt in your mouth, not in your hands.
That's amazing. Chef Chandra Gore asked a great question of what are some ways to make sure those meatballs are nice and moist, that they don't get dry?
One of the big things with making sure they're nice and moist, especially if you're doing turkey meatballs, is use the olive oil that I talked about earlier. Put the olive oil in the bottom of your pan or pot or whatever you make them in. Put the olive oil in the bottom of it so that when they're in the oven, as they're baking, meat tends to suck up the flavor. So that olive oil that's in the bottom of it is going to do two things. It's going to keep it from sticking, but also that olive oil is going to absorb back into the ground turkey to keep that flavor nice and moist. But then you still have the breadcrumbs, even though it's getting moist, you have the breadcrumbs that are going to still bind it together. So you don't have a crumbled meatball. Because see, that was one of the things that a lot of people would always experience was whenever they would make meatballs from scratch, their meatballs would break apart when they were done. And it was because they wasn't using a strong enough binder or the right binder to it. But if you're going to do something with ground turkey, definitely add in the breadcrumbs. And if you don't want to do breadcrumbs, and you saw my episode last week where I did Mama's Kitchen Sink meatloaf, I showed you how to make the meatloaf, which is similar to we're doing balls, but you use oatmeal. And oatmeal is really nice and flavorful as well.
Amazing. That looks so good. And on that caramel bread pudding, how do you know when the caramel is done?
The key is when the caramel starts to fully brown. That's when you know that it's done and where it needs to be. And as I always said, if you notice, I was turning around periodically, watching it. And that's one of the biggest things. You'll know it's done when you start seeing it get nice and creamy and smooth like this right here. That's when your caramel is on point. And also what you always want to remember is you have to keep stirring. Caramel is one of those dishes that when she cook it, it's almost literally like babysitting the dish. But check this out. Check this bread pudding out. This is how you want it. You see, like that old school bread pudding where it would all look like mush pate. See, when you cut that brioche bread into nice.
Just a little so we can see that.
All right, there we go. There we go.
Oh, it's got a nice browning right on the top.
Yes, that's what you want right here. But let's get into it. let's get into this thing here. Well, we got that caramel is looking good back here as well. Just get you something. And look at that heat escaping from it here. That's what we want. Now that we got it plated up, let me let you see what we got going on. This is one of those bread pudding dishes that I don't care what time of the year it is, especially during the colder part of the year. Bread pudding is one of those amazing dishes. You know, also, even if you don't want to do the caramel sauce, you could do vanilla bean ice cream over it. But check it out right here. Can you guys see this before I pour it?
Yes, we can see you pouring it. Oh
This
my
is what
goodness. I don't know if this is on my New Year, New Soul Kitchen Remix diet, but
yeah,
it looks amazing.
this right here is definitely what you want with some vanilla bean ice cream. You know, you deserve to have. And then look, the bread is still nice and crispy on the top. Let's go into this thing here. Still creamy, moist on the inside. You're getting that vanilla, I got a little bit of the walnuts that I cut up in.
Oh my goodness. I agree with his favorite magazine. I'm about to jump through the screen.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Look.
Between that and the cocktails this morning, whew, I'm done for.
I know, right? Now this one, I think that bread pudding really pairs well with this apple cider mule.
Amazing.
Yes. Thank you guys.
Shall we get into some? Should we get into some of these questions? We've got a ton of great questions. Should we get into some of these, Chef?
Yes, let's get into it. Let's
get into it. Okay. So first up, we've got Santana with the culture commentator. I'm going to invite you to come on in, Santana, and unmute and turn on your camera and ask your question.
Hi.
Hello.
What's going on, Mississippi native?
Oh, what's good? Oh, so you know about the M.I. crooked letter
I, humpback I. So thank you so much for taking the time out of the day to speak with all of us over here. My question for you is, what would you say was your most challenging dish that you've ever made?
I think one of my most challenging dishes that I ever made would have to be my unduly sausage and seafood gumbo. That was one of those dishes. You know, gumbo is all about the roux, and so for many years I had the hardest time getting that roux cooked just right, and finally, of course, I'm a Mississippi native, but one of my Louisiana native friends gave me an amazing tip that I still live by to this day when it comes to making my roux. And she said, what you want to do is you want to just keep stirring the roux, but make sure that you turn the heat off when the roux looks like Jiffy peanut butter or the outside of your hand. And that was one of the biggest things that I always kept with me. And ever since then, my gumbos have won awards and everything. But it was just that key. And a lot of people don't realize how Louisiana and Mississippi cuisine is so much alike, especially the further you get down to like the Delta and Jackson and Biloxi. The cultures and the cuisines really start mashing together and create one harmonious dish.
Lovely.
Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you for that great question, Santana. Next, we're going to call on Chris Jordan from BMH Magazine. Chris?
How you doing today, Chef?
I'm good. How you doing, Chris?
Doing real good. Thanks a lot for taking time out. I noticed you have a lot of versatility in the kitchen. So with all of that versatility, what would you say your favorite dish is to make?
My favorite all-time dish to make, as a matter of fact, when they say what you want your last dish to be, I would have to say barbecue shrimp. And granted, this is one of those dishes, when you hear barbecue shrimp, it's not barbecue in a traditional sense. Actually, this is another restaurant. And a lot of times you hear me talking about a lot of Louisiana cuisine or Creole Cajun cuisine. And that still varies back to my original culinary instructor who was Creole. And so the barbecue shrimp consists of jumbo prawns, or the largest shrimp you can find, but instead of traditional barbecue sauce, you're using Worcestershire sauce, minced garlic. You can add in some fire roasted tomatoes into it, garlic powder, onions, and you let this sauce just simmer in the shrimp. And the key is with the shrimp, you leave them in the shell. What you do is you just devein them, but you leave them in the shell while you're cooking them in this amazing sauce, and that shell and that seafood flavor really just blends with it. And man, it's one of those dishes that I can eat rain, sleet, or snow, and all I need on the side of it is some garlic toast to dip this sauce in.
Man, listen, I hope you show us how to make that one day.
I sure will.
Thanks a lot, Chef.
Awesome. Thank you, Chef. All right, next we have Tori Talks with Katori. Tori Talks.
Hello, can you guys hear and see me okay?
Yes, we can. Hello, Tori.
How are you? Last time we spoke, you almost got me beat up, Chef, talking about taking fat back out of these people's food.
Look.
Oh, my they had enough of you.
Exactly. Look, yeah, you know me, I would love some good fat back, but I'm trying to modernize it for them. So I always say, hey, instead of the fat back, go ahead on and put you some smoked turkey legs or turkey wings, and especially when it comes to collard greens, and letting it cook until it falls off the bone, and you get that same amazing flavor. Because that's really one of the reasons why we love the fat back in the food, is because fatback is cured in smokehouses. So it's really that smokiness that we're craving out of it. So we can get the same experience from some smoked turkey legs. And look, and trust me, you'll still be the MVP at the dinner table.
Oh, yeah, we always do the smoky legs. So thank you again for that advice. Like I said, they're going to have to beat me up about that fat back another time. But and when we last spoke last time, you and the rest of the chef were kind of talking about, the challenges you were experiencing, with it being the beginning of the pandemic. Now that you're about to, step into your new show, what would you say you've learned, from this like pandemic shooting of New Soul Kitchen? And what do you want to bring into your new show coming in January?
My new show that's coming in January, one of the biggest things that I want to bring to people is to not be afraid to cook, not be afraid to create. We look, especially the millennials, we're so into ordering and takeout and Uber Eats and all those, where we just completely gave up on the touch of creating a great meal. But I want to show them how to create a great meal, but I'm going to do it in a fraction of the time. And we give them play-by-play. So one of the cool things is, because I was truly honored to play a part and be a producer of the show as well. So I got a chance to really, really hone in on things that I wanted my people to see. I want the culture to see. And one of those things is when I'm cooking the meals on there, you'll see that there are little to no edits. And what that means is I'm cooking it straight through in real time. Just like how I did it with you guys, except the only difference is I'm doing it a whole lot faster. And that's what I'm doing. So, and why I'm doing that is because I want people to really see that, hey, the time frames that you see Chef Jernard cooking in, imagine if you weren't talking to anybody, you was in the kitchen maybe playing your favorite Drake song or Luther Vandross, who knows, and you just whipping it up how fast you could do it and create these gourmet meals. So that's one of the things that I'm truly honored about sharing. But I think one of the biggest things that I've learned over the course from season 1 of New Soul Kitchen to season 2, and now my own show, New Soul Kitchen Remix, is to always be open and to share with the people how to be open about inviting other food dishes into your kitchen. See, we walk around with this garden. It's like, this is what I eat. This is all I know. This is what my mama cooked for me. This is what my grandma cooked. I'm not trying anything else. Completely wrong. We want our palates to be as diverse and culturally motivated as the country that our ancestors really came from, which we know the vast majority came from Africa and different places like that. And so imagine coming from another country where you were used to cooking and eating a certain way, and now you're here and you're dealing with Western civilization, herbs and ingredients, and you think to yourself, you know, or them in their native language, like, I don't know nothing about no cabbage or no sage and all this other wild stuff growing, but look how we dominated and mastered it to the point of we are the focal point of the food that you see today, which is American cuisine, which was built off our backs. So I hope I answered that for you,
so
Tori.
much, Chef. You did. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays to you.
Thank you, Tori. All right, next we're going to call on Dory Starks from Lady Joe Entertainment with an awesome question about the show.
I was wondering, when you were choosing a co-host, what exactly was it that you were looking for? And, excuse me, which type of culinary style would you like to work with or fuse next?
Okay, one of the things, what we look for when we're looking for the amazing co-hosts that we narrowed it down to, because granted, we had so many that were on the list and it was so hard to choose from because they all possess unique and amazing talents. But one of the things that I truly look for was if you check out any of my co-hosts and see some of their social media pages, you'll see that their cooking style is just as daring as mine is. And so I really wanted someone that could complement and enhance and meet my energy on the show and not be afraid to step outside of the box when it comes to cooking these unique dishes. Like one of the dishes that I still say I think is one of my all-time favorites on the show is Chef Risha's $1 Million Chicken, which I think is still one of the most iconic dishes to me that stuck with me on the show. But then there were so many more. But the thing is, when it comes to cooking, a lot of chefs or aspiring chefs, they're afraid to veer off the plane of what's the normal because we tend to get worried about those who are watching that are going to be critical to us I'm not used to seeing it like this. I don't like this. So you have to be daring and willing, because what we're pushing to you, we're creating this new roadmap of cuisine and food that you eat, where if you look at our recipes and compare it to a cookbook, some of your top chefs that created cookbooks 5 to 10 years, our stuff is far from the spectrum. So what the goal is with New Soul Kitchen is rewrite the way we eat when it comes to recipes, so that now you have an additional repertoire that you can choose from on what era you want to cook from or eat from.
That's great. Thank you, Chef, and thank you, Dory, for that.
Yes, thank you, guys.
All right, next we're going to call on Michael. Michael, go ahead and tell us your name and your media outlet.
Hey guys, how you doing? This is Michael Maceo. I'm a media correspondent with Endless Report, blog spot here in Atlanta, Georgia. Chef, my question to you, it's an honor to be on here. My question to you is, I'm brand new. I've been in the market, I'm in the entertainment industry, and here I am moving around in the industry. I'm not cooking. I'm traveling. I'm moving around. I'm getting the best of the best, So here we are, brand new, 20 years in the game, and we're still. Could you help us out? Give us some guidance and some encouragement, some advice.
Brand new in the game, or just in the game as a whole, the key is as I always share with people is, hey, the race was never given to the quickest or the swiftest. It was always given to those that are willing to endure and continue to keep going on the long haul. So to be able to say how long that you've been in the game and study prevailing, that's a congratulatory statement within itself. And I even apply those same rules to myself when it comes to being ambitious and what it is that I'm desiring or trying to seek out of life as a fulfillment. And one of my biggest goals, of course, is food. And I say that's the reason why, you know, it's called culinary arts, because what I'm doing is I'm painting a picture with my plate, or I'm painting my very own Mona Lisa of how I see it and what I see, and I'm sharing this with the world so that they can see whatever it is that I'm creating or what I'm desiring to implement through my eyes. And that's what, and I share that to say that's with any career, regardless whether you're in food or not. You take that same tool and you apply it to your life. You know, even though with culinary industries and I own my own company, I still to this day treat myself as if I was punching a clock for someone else. I still get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Now my ritual is when I get up, I'll work out for a while, but I still hop in the shower, dress up, put clothes on as if I was going to punch a clock for someone. And I go through that whole day and I'm working or I'm finding things that I need to do or what I need to achieve on my list of goals as a whole. And I do that for 8 to 10 hours a day, sometimes even longer. And hey, I stop and I take lunch breaks and I do all those things as if somebody else was commanding me or telling me I needed to do it, except the difference is I'm doing it all for me and I see all the rewards. So I definitely tell you, hey, apply those kind of principles to what you're doing and you'll keep going places.
Thank you for that question, Michael. All right, next we're going to throw it to Valerie from the Hollywood Times. Valerie.
Hi there again. Hi.
Hello, Valerie.
Hi, it was a great show so far, and I just really appreciate CLEO and you, our chef, for teaching us. Why do you have a BMW on your lapel there?
That stands for Black Man Won. No, it doesn't. It should. No, it actually is. It's BMW dealership. One of the things BMW does is BMW gives me cars to drive around and test out and experience and brand for them. And so this particular chef jacket, as you can see, BMW here, but here I got CLEO. This particular chef jacket is, as I call it, my victory chef jacket. A funny story. One year I was going to Essence Festival, and BMW, my publicist worked out everything, and BMW wanted me to drive their new, I think it was the X7, X9, the truck that drives itself. Wanted me to drive it to Essence Fest, and so in the process of that, they ordered this custom-made chef jacket for me, and I couldn't fit in it. And all part of the caveat was I had to be able to get the chef jacket. It literally would not close on that first button. So I went on this 72-hour crash course diet to be able to get into this jacket. Now, granted, it worked after I starved myself for 72 hours, but it was still tight. And so now the progress of what I'm doing with myself with New Soul Kitchen and just having an active lifestyle, as you can see, look, I got room in here now. So I just feel good just having the opportunity to wear it. And when I was determining what I wanted to wear for you guys today, I looked in my closet of chef jackets and I said, this is one to show off that new figure that I'm working on.
Bravo. Thank you. And thanks again, CLEO TV, for today. It's been very informative.
Thank you. Thank you. I definitely hope I inspired you.
Thank you so much, Valerie. All right, next we're going to go to G. Hala from My Celebrity Life.
All right. Peace and blessings. How you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. How about yourself?
All is cool. I appreciate you taking my question. So, Chef Jernard, for the brothers out there that possibly can't cook as well as you, what tips do you have to help the food taste better if they were to prepare something? Because, you know, sometimes when you suffer from certain diseases, autoimmune diseases, it does affect your palate. So the way that you taste food may be, inherently different from when someone else is tasting it. So what tips do you have for those out there who want to become better cooks and chefs?
One of the number one tips for those that want to become better cooks and chefs is to start cooking with a lot of fresh herbs and spices. The next time when you go to the grocery store, your local farmer's market, don't be afraid to veer off over there where you see the fresh ginger, the rosemary, the fresh parsley, thyme, the garlic. And what you'll find yourself doing is when you're cooking with those versus using a lot of the dried ingredients or processed items, you're going to get a healthier dish, but also you're going to really have the opportunity to experience those flavors in the true way that they were intended for your taste buds to experience it. Now, granted, there's nothing wrong with having dry ingredients, but if you really want to step out and just change the way that you see food and cook, start cooking with a lot of fresh ingredients, fresh herbs. That really brings it to life. Also, another tip, first time cooking, I always suggest the key is having your mise en place together. So if it's a recipe that you're wanting to follow or create a dish from, once you have that recipe, take all the ingredients out and measure them up of what you need and set it by the stove right there where you are. And then start cooking. You're gonna find out that you're gonna decrease the time that it took for you to cook, as well as you'll have a better accuracy, because what we tend to be is, as I call it, cabinet and refrigerator cooks. We know what we want, and then we just start pulling things out as we go instead of already having all your ingredients laid out in front of you.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, everyone. Those are amazing questions. Thank you, Chef. So make sure everyone tune in to the New Soul Kitchen Remix premiere on January 9th. And thank you, Chef, for sharing all these amazing recipes for us. We're going to invite all of you to turn your camera on, and let's take a group gallery view photo, because I think that would be fun.
Yes, it would be.
And we could see all our beautiful faces at one time.
I know. These are so exciting, guys. When I do these, I'm so glad that you all took the time out of your busy schedule to join me, because you could have been anywhere else doing anything else, but you chose to spend this time with us.
Yes, I second that. On behalf of JL Media PR and CLEO TV. I want to invite in our founder of JL Media PR, Jalila Larsul, to thank you all for coming. And Jalila, you could go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, everybody.
There we go.
Boy, I want to thank everyone. You guys have always been so supportive of us. I want to thank you from JL Media and from CLEO TV and TV1, especially the head director of PR. There is Lamika Lucas. I think Lamika's on somewhere, but wave Lamika. But it has been amazing working this particular project, New Soul Kitchen. We just love Chef Jernard and all the other folks that have been, the other chefs that have been part of the show. And but mainly I wanted to tell you, the media, you've really been supportive and we appreciate it. You've been doing our posting. You've been just showing us a lot of love for this, and for CLEO TV. Make sure you continue to watch this particular show, which is New Soul Kitchen this season, and keep posting like you're doing, and definitely start tuning in, because I believe your audience that you tend to have a lot of your material be posted and stuff. I'm sure they will be excited about this remix show for Chef Jernard. And it's January 9th. So please tune in and let your folks that your readers, your listeners, your viewers know this.
Thank you so much. The honor is all mine to work with you guys. Are amazing. Thank you. Did you get that picture,
Chef.
Crystal?
Let's get a group photo. Let's do
Crystal,
this, you guys. I might need a backup. Yes, someone. Okay, let's see. I can see you. Who's got one of the fancy iPhones? Why don't you take the picture? I'm still an Android.
You're still an Android.
Well, can we go into the gallery mode? Can we go into gallery mode, please?
Yes, we're in gallery mode.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone want to volunteer with their iPhone to snap a picture and send it to me?
Got it.
Yay.
Very cool. Very cool.
Happy holidays to all of you and blessings to all of your families. May you all be safe and happy and joyful this season.
Yes.
Chef, any final words?
Yes, look, if you don't already follow me on Instagram, please follow me on Instagram at Chef Jernard, CHEFJERNARD. But also this holiday, whatever you cook, if it's something that's inspired by me or not, post it and tag me in it. I would love to see it.